Hello, incredible friends. Today I have a special card that I'm going to make with you. And this is going to be from the Ribbon of Courage stamp set, which let me get that out and show it to you. It's using this one. And today's card is extra special for me because it is in memory of my mother, who passed away a year ago. And so I'm going to show you how to make this card, and I want to encourage you, for anyone that you know who's fighting any disease or cancer, this ribbon card is so versatile. You don't even have to use the support ribbons if you don't want. I'll be sharing some ideas in the future with this stamp set as well. But even if you didn't use either of these images, you still got the heart and these just really nice sayings. With faith, all things are possible. And then this one is live every moment, laugh every day, love with all your heart. And then this last one is sending love and hugs to you. So this set is great for, like I said, not just the ribbons, but just for get well or thinking of you, just many occasions you can use it for. But without further ado, I'm gonna move the camera down and we're gonna get started on this project. And like always, all of the dimensions and supply lists and everything will be on the blog post as well. But to get started, and I have done a few things already just to try to save time because I needed this video today to be pretty quick. But so I am using the Ribbon of Courage stamp set again, and I'm going to be using this image here from the Flourishing Phrases stamp set. I'm also using Perfect Plum ink, and the framelits are called support ribbon framelits. And you can buy the framelits. There's other framelits in the set. These aren't the only two. But you can buy these and the Ribbon of Courage stamp set as a bundle and save money. It's a great value. So we're going to be using that. And of course, we're using dimensionals. That's just about every project. And I'm also using the large letter framelits. And that was so that I could cut out the word hope. So just to get started on this card, I forgot to grab my snail adhesive here today. So let me grab that real quick. So the first thing I'm going to do, I do have my pieces already cut. I'm using Elegant Eggplant as my card base, and this is a larger, typically I do A2 size cards, which are 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. But this one is a little bit larger, but again, the dimensions will be on the blog. But this is Elegant Eggplant. So I've got my card base, I've got a Whisper White layer, and then I've got another layer of Elegant Eggplant and another layer of Whisper White. Okay, so first I'll do is on this larger Whisper White layer, I'm going to be stamping just some random images to show behind the panel. Now I'm using Perfect Plum ink, but it still can be kind of, and because the Perfect Plum is a little bit dark, I'm just going to stamp on a scrap piece of paper, and then I'm just going to stamp on my card. And that, because I just don't want it showing up so dark on this card. And then it's just random. And on this one, I don't have to worry about the stamping the center as much because it's going to get covered up. So I'm just going around and placing. I mean, this stamp is large enough that it covers a good surface anyway, but we'll just get this one little corner. Okay, so that's what we're going to do with that. I'll set this stamp aside. I'll rinse that off in a little bit. And this really isn't the greatest idea, guys, but I'm just doing it because I'm having problems with humidity. I'm just putting a tiny dab of snail on that stamp. And I am going to then take, this was a scrap piece of paper, I'm going to take that and I'm going to ink up this ribbon stamp. And then I'm going to stamp that onto my paper. And I'm just letting this sit for a second so the paper can absorb the ink. Okay, so we are done with our stamping. Next, I want to take out the Big Shot, which I have right here next to me. And hopefully I can get this on camera where you guys can see it. Hopefully you can see that. So now what I'm going to do is I've got my, I can't think of what you call this, my magnetic plate, that's what it is. And then I've got my clear plate. And then I'm going to place the stamped image right on top of it. And then I have my ribbon framelit, which I can just place right over this. And there are magnets, so sometimes with the warped plates you might have to move things around a little bit to get them placed just where you want it. And then, I've never done this before, but I'm going to try it. I am going to put a little, there's a little heart in this set as well. And I'm going to put that heart right in here. And we'll see how that looks. If it doesn't look well, then I'll just stamp it and start all over. And then I'm putting my second clear plate on top. And then we're just going to crank it through. And I am going to go ahead and crank through twice. Now, to save time today, I had already cut out the letters for this card. Now let's see what this looks like. Oh yeah, I like that. So see, I cut it out with the heart in the center. So, but I was saying, to save time today, I went ahead and cut out the letters. But you see how the Big Shot works. If you're not familiar with that, you have these framelits. And what I did with these letters was I cut out of regular Whisper White. So you could use the thick cardstock if you prefer, but out of regular Whisper White paper, I cut out 4 of each letter. And then I glued them together. And that's just because, I don't know if you can see, it gives it a nice thicker and sturdier piece. And you'll see why when we go to adhere these, why I wanted it to be thicker. Okay, so our card should come together really quick now. So I'm just going to place some snail on the back of these layers. And I'm going to adhere this to my card base, just centering it the best that I can. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and adhere this panel, this is the other Whisper White panel, to my elegant eggplant. And again, you're just centering this one. And then I'm going to adhere this whole panel to the center of this card. And so you see how there's just the ink that we did, it just shows through. It just gives it a nice texture and stuff on that side. Okay, now for popping these up, we're going to pop these up, and I hope this shows up on camera. It may not show as well, but I'm just kind of getting a visual for where I want these placed on my card. And then what we're going to do is with the ribbon here, I'm looping it through the top of the H. Be gentle with it. And I'm just going to let it kind of hang on there. We're going to end up kind of taping it. And actually, since we'll need, I might kind of have to, well, we might have to let it just kind of be off to the side just a tad, like that. So when you're positioning your letters, keep that in mind. You might want a little bit, even though it looks like it's off-centered, if you just put the letters down, you're going to need room for this to not go off the edge of the card. Otherwise your envelope you won't have enough space to mail it. Okay, so I am going to, with that said, carefully, I'm just going to flip over. I'm going to just start with the O. And I have, these are the mini dimensional, which are, they came out in last year's catalog, so they're still a newer product. But these are really small, so they fit nicely on these little pieces. So I'm just going to put a few of them on the back. And between the dimensionals, popping up the words, you wouldn't necessarily have to use dimensionals, but I'm just doing it because I really want it to pop up off the paper. And then I'm just going to place that down. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the P and the E next. And you could do this different ways. I'm doing these one letter at a time just to make sure that my spacing remains the way I want it. I'm afraid if I turn these all over and do them at once that something might get a little skewed. But by having these up on dimensionals, it gives the card some depth, especially since the letters are white on white. And you certainly could do a different color if you'd like, but that's just what I chose for today. But between being the white on white and then having the 4 layers cut, it really pops up off the card. And hopefully, you may not be able to see that right now when I'm working on it on this surface, but when I'm done, I'll pick the card up and you should be able to see the difference that the layers and the dimensionals make. Okay, so these are really tiny. So it's sometimes a little hard. If you have trouble peeling the backs of these off, you can just kind of put your fingernail or your thumb in the middle, and that puts a dent in the paper and it makes it easier to peel it off. All right, so then I'm going to go ahead and place the E. Oh, I think I got that a little bit further down. I'm trying to eyeball these and keep them relatively straight, but it's not easy. If you're really worried about it, you could draw really lightly with a pencil. All right, now for the back of the H, I'm going to go ahead and place this one dimensional so that it is, hopefully you can see this, but right at the line where this ribbon, the back of the ribbon and the letter meet, to try to catch both of those at the same time so that they don't move around. And I'll just keep putting a few more dimensionals on here, and I think one more. Okay, so then we're going to peel the backs of these off. These are great, but they are tiny. If I had a pair of tweezers out, that would help too. I could just grab the backs with tweezers. I just didn't think to grab them before I sat down to film. Whoops, that one's coming off totally. Okay, there we go. All right, so then we're going to flip that one back over. And again, before you place this down all the way, make sure that this isn't going to be hanging off your card. And there we go. And then I think that ribbon is okay because it's actually adhered to the back. It moves a little bit, but I think that's okay. So there you go. You have your ribbon of hope. And in case anyone doesn't know, the darker purple is the color for Alzheimer's awareness ribbons. Those are the colors that they use. So that's why I chose the dark purple. I don't know if I said that earlier or not, but my mom, passed away from Alzheimer's. So that's why I chose to do this card in her memory. Now let me bring the camera back up here. So that's today's card project. I'm getting tongue twister now. I hope you guys have an incredible day. And again, don't ever forget the value of sending your loved ones, your friends, your family, anyone who's fighting cancer or any disease, sending them a card. Don't forget caregivers as well, because they have an incredibly hard job and they need all of your love and support as well. So have an incredible day, and we'll see you next time. Bye.